So a lot of you guys probably don't know, but these are my goals I wrote down for the start of the year. I'm doing bad on them though. I haven't accomplished them yet. But yeah, let me take a seat real quick. So, a lot of you guys probably don't know this, but I'm an entrepreneur as well. So, if you go back to some of my earlier videos, I talked about it, but I do have my own company, real estate company. It's called Creative Realty and Investments, LLC. That's it right there. Some business cards right here. But, so I started my business, man, about a year and a half ago. I focus on wholesaling real estate. So if anybody know about wholesaling, if you don't know, you can actually go to YouTube and just put in wholesaling real estate and you can see exactly what that is. But basically what I do is I look for properties that ideally looks like it needs some work done to it, right? I don't necessarily look for houses that's already renovated, already fixed up, already in great condition. You know, although those houses, well, not the ones that's in great condition, but you know, the houses on the higher end in terms of value, you can still wholesale those particular houses, but you'll have a better chance wholesaling houses that aren't as high priced as those houses, because essentially what it is you're looking for houses that looks like they need some work done to them for the most part. You know, maybe you do what's called drop for dollars, right? And that's when you're just driving around the neighborhoods or just driving around and you look for houses that may have high, tall grass, or, you know, they may have some boarded up windows, or a lot of mail in the mailbox, which could be an indication that nobody lives there anymore. So those are the type of houses that I look for. And then you have tire landlords. Those are just landlords that own properties that are tired of dealing with tenants, right? They're tired of, you know, renting to different people and they're just ready to get out of the game altogether. Or they could be an out-of-state owner where they live in one state, but they own a property in a different state that they're renting out, and they're just tired of, you know, dealing with that from afar. So, you know, a lot of times those type of people, they want to sell the property, and they want to sell at a quote-unquote discount, and that's what that's a perfect scenario for me, right? We look for houses that we can get at a discount. That's kind of where we get a nice profit and make our money. So wholesaling, what it is I'm basically the middleman in the transaction, right? So I find a property that a homeowner is willing to sell at a certain price. You know, we negotiate that price, whatever it is, as long as it makes sense for me, then I'll get that property under contract with the homeowner. We'll call it homeowner A. right? Me and homeowner A agree on a price. Let's just throw out a number and say $30,000. We agree on a $30,000 price. I put it on the contract with that homeowner for that price. And once I get it on the contract, I now own what's called equitable interest in that property, which gives me the right to be able to sell my interest, basically the contract, my rights to the property to another investor, which is typically going to be, a cash buyer, somebody that does fix and flips, somebody that's a landlord already and, have multiple properties, just another investor that's willing to put their own cash up to really bring to the table to buy the property. So I'm really not putting my own cash up to buy the entire property for $30,000, right? But I go find another investor, a cash buyer that's willing to put all his money up, right, to bring to the table. So once I get it on a contract with homeowner A, I then go look for another investor that's willing to buy that same property, or the contract from me for the property, and I get it on the contract for a higher price. That's where my profit comes in at, with the cash buyer, homeowner B, right? So just to recap, if I get it on the contract with homeowner A for $30,000, obviously I want to make a profit off of that. So I'm gonna go find an investor that's willing to pay $5,000 or $10,000 or more for the property, right? So if I find another investor, I may say, well, hey, I want $40,000 for this property. So now I'm gonna go find an investor B that's willing to pay $40,000 for it, right? And if the numbers make sense for him, he'll actually buy it for $40,000. And what's the difference from $40,000 and $30,000? It's $10,000, right? That's the difference. So that's what I would make in that transaction. I would make $10,000 off that transaction, and what's called an assignment fee, right? So as a wholesaler, you make what's called an assignment fee in a transaction like that. So I would make $10,000 off that transaction. So essentially what it is like I said, you find one person that's willing to sell you the property at a certain price, and then you go find another person that's willing to buy that property at a certain price. You get paid an assignment fee for bringing both parties together and being able to find another investor that's willing to purchase that property with their own money. So you're really not out of pocket any of your own money, right? But, in order to find those type of leads or people that's willing to sell those type of properties, you have to put, a little money up for marketing and things of that nature in order to locate those type of properties, right? I wouldn't say you have to do this, but it makes it a lot easier if you do have some money. Some people say, well, you don't need any money at all. I don't believe that. I do think you need some money because you got to market yourself. You have to, go out there and find these people that's willing to do it. And in order to do that, you may have to run some ads. You may have to send out postcards, right? You may have to do some cold calling, finding homeowners' names and property addresses and things of that nature, and skip trace them. So there's a process called skip tracing where you get the property address, you run it through a skip tracing system, and it gives you all that information to the property, like the homeowner's name, the homeowner's address, whether or not there's any liens on the property, what's owed on the property, if there are any judgments at all on the properties. It just gives you a ton of information about that property. Right, and that's helpful. That's the type of information you need in order to, it helps you, see if it makes sense for you to even try to get that property under contract, right? So I started my business about it, like I said, 1.5 years ago. I just started doing a whole lot of research on wholesaling. So 3 months after I started my business, to make a long story short, I did my first deal, right? I made $10,000 off my first deal. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna show you guys real quick. So I made $10,000 off my first deal. I was, super excited. That gave me proof of concept that this actually works, right? I didn't have to put any of my money up to really make this money, but I'll show you guys here. I'm gonna cover up some stuff on here. I don't wanna show the names and all of that, but let's see. Can't cover up no names. So I'm gonna cover up a little bit of this on here, but see that? I'm just covering up a little bit of stuff on here, but you can see that at the bottom right here, you see what says assignment fee, and that's what I made, $10,000 on that one. Right, this was my very first deal, man. It's my very first deal. Like I said, I was extremely excited about that. That was my first deal, man. 3 months after I started my business, and then let's see, when I made my second deal was done in March. So my first deal was done in February. I did my next deal in March. So this was my next deal. I made $2,000 off this deal. This was a property that I actually sold, or I sold the rights. I didn't necessarily sell the property, but I sold the rights to buy the property, the interest, right? Let me cover up some stuff in this, show you this one. Trying to cover this stuff up, man. Bear with me, guys. I'm just trying to cover up some stuff. I don't want to show all this information out here. Alright, so this is my second one right here, man. See that assignment fee? This one was for $2,000. Alright. So this one right here was actually a property, man. This was just vacant land on this second one. This vacant land, I got it on a contract with the owner. And what's funny is about these is both of these were from the same owner. It was actually a guy I went to school with, right? I was doing marketing, putting posts up on Facebook, just putting it out there, letting people know what I do. Like, hey, I buy houses, I pay cash as is. Again, I'm not necessarily like paying the cash for the houses, but I do find other investors to put the money up to buy the houses. So I was doing a lot of marketing on Facebook. So somebody messaged me and was like, hey, I got a house for sale. I want $35,000 for it. So I was like, Oh, cool. Send me the address. Let me take a look at it. So he sent me the address. I did my research on it. I actually offered him $18,000 for it. That was my first offer. With wholesaling, you want to try to get it as low as you can, right? You want to try to get property as low as you can after you find out what the value is and what you could potentially sell it for. In order for you to make a profit, and in order for you to make, a decent profit, you have to do the numbers. You have to make it make sense, right? So you can't offer somebody way more than what it's worth or anywhere near what the value is, or you're not going to make any money, right? So I think the value of the house was about $45,000. And like I said, he wanted $35,000 for it, but that's not including repairs, right? So you got to put that into your number as well. You got to think about what's the repair cost. You got to do your research on that, right? So, if you want 35 and let's just say it's going to cost $10,000 to do renovations and fix the property back up, that's $45,000 right there. So if it's only worth 45, you can't pay 45 for it and expect to make a profit, right? You're not going to make no money in that. So I offered him 18. Like I said, I just threw it out. That was my first offer, all that, right? So he was like, nah, man, I can't just give it away. So I was like, well, how far can you come down to that number? And so he was like, man, 30,000 is the best I can do. That's the lowest I go on it, right? So I'm like, all right, I already seen it was worth 45,000. I was like, let me take a look at it. So I went to the house. It needed some work, but it actually was in really good shape based on how old it was in the year. You know what I mean? It was an older house. I think the house was probably built in the 50s or something, 50s or 60s or something like that. It was a real old house, but it was well taken care of. So I went and checked it out, and I offered him 35. I was like, look, 35 is the best I could do. So he was, I said 30 is the best I could do. He wanted 35. So he was like, all right, I'll take 30. That's the lowest I go. So I'm like, all right, cool. Got on a contract with him. And to make a long story short, ended up getting on the contract for 30. It was 2 people on the deed. What was crazy about this one, this is actually a long story, but I'm gonna make it short. So it was 2 people on the deed. It was him and his uncle. His uncle lived in Hawaii. In order for this to go through the title and all that, both parties have to sign, right? Both parties have to sign the contract and agree and all that type of stuff, being that it was 2 people on the title. He thought it was just himself. He thought he removed his uncle off the title, but he didn't. So he had to get in contact with his uncle, which took forever, right? He couldn't find the number, or he couldn't locate him for whatever reason. So that first deal, I said it closed 3 months after, or I did my first deal 3 months after, but it actually should have been sooner than that if he would have been in town and things like that. The holder, it took like over a month for him to get in contact with his uncle. So that's what took the time. But anyway, got the contract signed. Finally, after a month, he got in contact with his uncle, and we ended up getting the deal done, man. Both of them signed it, agreed on it, went to title, and closed it. I actually closed this deal, man. Once everything got signed, my buyer came in on a Sunday night. Actually, I met him at the house. He just wanted a quick walkthrough. He checked it out. He liked it. He signed the contract on the spot, and we got the deal done. Signed it on a Sunday, closed it with his attorney on Wednesday. So signed on Sunday, closed on Wednesday. Once we finally got everything in, because I already had the title. What happened was the title was at one title company to begin with, right? So the title search and all that had been done, was good, but the other investor who ended up buying the house from me, he had his own attorney, and he wanted to use his attorney. So I'm like, that's fine, but I already got the title at one title company, so you'll have to pay for the transfer fee and all that to do it. So that's what he wanted to do. I was cool with it. So he ended up paying for the transfer fee to transfer the title to his attorney or whatever, and we got it done, man. So yeah, and then after that, March came around, or let's see, yeah, March came around. So COVID came around. When COVID came, I just kind of slowed up on my business part, right? So I just stopped, just slowed up on it because of COVID. You know, people were still doing deals and stuff like that, but me personally, I just kind of slowed up, and so I'm slowly getting back into it now. But yeah, man. So you know, like I said, multiple streams of income, man, is definitely where it's at. So just try to stay busy, man. Try to make as much as I can, as fast as I can. And it's all about generational wealth, man, and being able to have something to pass down to your kids, and just being able to provide for your family and being able to do the things you want to do. That's what I'm all about, and really, at the end of the day, trying to have financial freedom, right? So, got my business, I invest in the stock market, and I have a 9 to 5 job, quote unquote, food service delivery driver. So, you know, a few sources of income, man, just trying to get it. So I'll talk more about that, the business side of it, a little bit later, but just want to share that with you guys, for the especially ones that didn't know. But look, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. It's my shirt, by the way, too. Creative Realty Investments, man. Hey, I hope you guys have a good day. I'll holler at y'all.